Hi, and welcome to the launch episode of my newest podcast, Ocean Talks. My name is Ocean, and I love to talk. For today's episode, we're talking about controversial placements on RuPaul's Drag Race, that only being the 17 mainline US seasons. If you wanna have this version for All Stars and some international franchises, just tell me down in the comments below. I'd be happy to do that. Let's just get right into it. So we're going in chronological order from season 1 to season 17. And up first, we have one that is really infamous and people immediately think of when the term controversial placements come into mind. And then it's Rebecca Glasscock all the way back in season 1 winning the makeover. So in that episode, the Queens were tasked to make over women who don't typically fall into the traditional stereotypical gender roles of women, whatever. And many people, included me included, feel that Chanel deserved that win. But honestly, everyone else would have deserved that win more than Rebecca. Rebecca was the worst, so basic, even for season 1 standards. It was rough. Anyways, we're moving over to season 2 already, and the makeover episode claims another victim. This time, Tyra Sanchez, who placed in the top for the makeover, which I highly disagree with. This time, the queens had to make over elderly gay men, and Tyra and her makeover partner, gotta admit, they had good chemistry, and the outfits were super cute actually. But the makeup itself that Tyra put on her makeover partner was so rough. And on the other hand, we had Miss Pandora Box, who was put in the bottom with the reasoning that her makeover partner overshadowed her or shined more like her, whatever. And it's just like a cop out because don't you want to have that for a makeover? That you're doing such a good job that your makeover partner, who isn't a professional drag queen, is having the spotlight. Like, I would have put her in the top for very that reason, actually, instead of in the bottom. But hey, they plotted to get the Susan Lucci of the season to get rid of. That's my conspiracy. Anyways, we're jumping again straight next into the next season, but this time we're staying here in season 3. We have some placements I want to talk about, and the first is Alexis Mateo's win in this workout advert challenge. So Alexis was so charismatic in that she had this rubber band stretch thingy, and the exercise was to apply makeup on, which again, super cute, super fun. Not the most memorable though. There were so many others that were much more memorable, like Raja having this Butch character and Butch voice and just violently banging a gymnastic ball in the crotch era. Like, I died watching that. We also had Stacey Lane Matthews using a dumbbell, shaking it while eating chicken, could have also won. And the one I think should have won the most because of its legacy status after the challenge is Jara Sophia doing her Esha Palante. Like, this catchphrase transcended beyond this challenge. And yeah. One episode later, Manila won the improv challenge. In this one, the queens needed to improvise in a morning show, fulfilling roles such as the news anchor or the weather girl. Manila received the role of the celebrity interviewer, and a lot of people had an issue with her relying on Asian stereotypes. That is not my problem per se with it, as Manila is literally Asian. So, but the reason why I have her on this list is because there were two queens who were such standouts in that challenge. For one, we had the one queen that shall not be named, Miss Allegations right over there. Um, she did great as this gossip news anchor. And then we had again Jara Sophia, who was the weather girl, and I was dying when she said stuff like, "Oh, almost burned my ass." It was just she's so charismatic. She should have won this challenge for sure. Um, yeah. So who would have thought, moving forward, that it would ever be controversial to say that Raja won a design challenge? In a challenge where the queens needed to design looks based on different flavors of cake, Raja had to work with the chocolate lava cake. And the dress itself was stunning, don't get me wrong. However, there was some technical issues with it. Precisely, the underwear was always showing during her runway walk, and this is something that should not happen, especially on the highly professional caliber that Raja is and even was on season 3 on. So, yeah, I don't know personally. Maybe, maybe if the underwear was in like a different color than white, I wouldn't have minded it so much. But because it was chocolate lava cake and it was a dark brown, the white undergarment was very distracting for me. But we're not leaving this challenge yet because we need to talk again about Jara Sophia being robbed. Looking back, Jara could have Loki had 4 wins this season. Like she got the strawberry shortcake, and she created this stunning dress. It was so beautiful, so well constructed, and she didn't win. I'm upset. Anyways, we're leaving season 3 and moving on to season 4, where I want to talk about two queens. First, we have Miss. Oh, microphone. First, we have Jiggly Caliente, and in the advert challenge, the queens were tasked to advertise RuPaul's cities in 2 different groups, writing and acting out their own characters, presenting 1 song each. Jiggly was safe, but I really do think she deserves a top placement. Hers is one of the very few I distinctly remember even today. And her line delivery saying that this is not soy sauce in your pants. It never fails me to crack up. The other queen I want to talk about is Jeremy Carey, the artist formerly known as Fifi O'Hara. In season 4, there was this political debate challenge, and Jeremy decided to take the conservative Southern Republican route, which I don't mind. We've seen others doing it really good, such as Widow and Trust. We'll get into that later. But the way he decided to tackle it was so obnoxious, for lack of a better word. The voice, the mannerisms, I just was so bothered watching it. Jeremy should have absolutely been in the bottom 2 over Latrice, who had only one successful joke, but that joke was the joke of the episode, not gonna lie. Anyways, in season 5, there weren't many placements that I feel worth discussing. Like, sure, there was some head scratches, but there was still fair, in my opinion. Like, Lanesha didn't win the first episode, but Roxy also did a stunning look. Lanesha just did better, but I still see why Roxy won. It's just a matter of preference, I guess. Same with episode 2. I see why Lanesha won. I would have given the win to Coco Montrese, but This is not what this list is about. It's not controversial. um, what is controversial in season 5 is the sugar ball. The ball, we have 3 categories, obviously. First 2 categories brought from home were Sweet 16 and Executive Realness. And the third look must have been made in the workroom only with sweets and all that fun stuff. And Roxy Andrews placed high, Alaska won. Let's dissect it. Roxy and Alaska did really solid in the first 2 categories. Roxy had a stunning third look made of licorice stripes thingies. When she spinned, or even when she was just walking on the runway, the movement, it was so. Oh, I loved it. I love it so much. Alaska used cotton candy and it was cutesy. I liked it. However, it, it was literally on the edge of falling apart right before Alaska went on the runway. That means the construction must not have been the greatest. And it just wasn't as big of a moment as Roxy was. So, yeah, Roxy 100% should have won. Now we're moving on to season 6 already. And the first I want to talk about is Miss Darien Lake. And I have to say in advance, I love Darien Lake. And I, ironically, love her Oh No, She Better Don't performance. My biases aside, how in the hell was she not in the bottom 2 for that? And only low instead? Like, let's dissect the challenge first. It was the second proper girl group performance ever. And the queens had to write and perform verses in 90s hip hop style. And again, Darian's performance is near and dear to my heart. In the same way as Laganja's stand up performance and Jessica's I Love That Drink. But just as those two, Darien Lake should have been 100% in the bottom 2. So, yeah, I'm really at a loss how she wasn't, other than they wanted to get rid of Milk. And could you imagine the slayage that would have been a Darien and Trinity lip sync? The audience was done wrong in so many ways here. I can't even. So moving forward, we have to talk about another low placement that should have been a bottom placement, and it's Jocelyn Fox in the talk show challenge. The queens were tasked to interview Georgia Holt and Chaz Bono in a talk show setting, and Jocelyn decided to introduce them as the person whose vagina Cher came from and the person who came out of Cher's vagina. Then continued to ask Georgia how she feels about almost having an abortion when she was pregnant with Cher. I think I'm not breaking any grounds when I say that this is a huge no-go. Like, yes, she apologized on the main stage, but that was the bare minimum. She still should have been put in the bottom. Honestly, that was one of the worst showcases in any performance we've ever seen on the show. It was that bad. And what makes it worse is that Jocelyn came out once again in the same style of garment on the runway. The judges told her for episodes, that's plural, my dears, not that she should have changed it, but she didn't. Also, talking about this runway, I swear I love Jocelyn, but I have to poo on her just so hard right now because the category was Animal Kingdom, and in her words, she was a glamazon. Moving on. For the last one of season 6, we had Ben Delacreme, Ben Delacreme herself, and her being eliminated in the glitter ball. Categories were Banji, executive realness, and for the design look, it was a look based on a gem that was assigned in the workroom. Um, so Della was put in the bottom because the judges were bored of her signature silhouette, yet Bianca was safe during doing the same silhouette the entire season, even in this very same episode. Furthermore, Courtney's final look had no shape at all, so Della should have 100% been safe, and either Courtney or Bianca should have taken that bottom spot. Moving on to season 7, let's talk about the Glamazon Airways musical. The queens performed in a flight based musical. The vocals were provided already, so they did not need to record them or singing live. They just need to lip sync and memorize the parts. Mrs. Kasha Davis was given a high placement, and I'm such a greedy bottom because I think that she hands down should have won. She was the standout. She had not only one but two memorable moments, the most memorable moments of the entire musical, despite Katya forgetting the words there say. It was her scatting and making that angry face while blowing the whistle, which no notes, 10 out of 10, should have won, I don't care. But we're not done with the Glamazon Airways, because Jaden the All Fierce, the mother that she is, was only safe. She was another standout, giving the pilot a BJ, and she was just so engaging with her facial expressions. Definitely deserved a top placement as well. Moving on, we're gonna talk about Pearl in the Snatch Game. She did Big Ange, and this was by a mile Pearl's best showcase on the entire season. Production wanted her in the finals, so tell me why, in the challenge she deserved it the most, they did not give her a high placement, but a safe one instead. She either should have been in the top over Katya, or if they really want to keep Katya in the top, which, fair enough, make an additional high placement like they just did on season 17. From one favorite queen who was strangely robbed to another, the following episode was the makeover. The queens who were left in the competition had to make over the eliminated queens into conjoined queens. Miss Fame was paired with Candy Ho, and they made a super fun, highly chic plastic surgery concept, and they were giving a low placement because the judges already saw it before. Have we forgot that Kennedy and Jasmine, as well as Violet and Max, just had pretty dresses? No concept whatsoever. And they were high and safe. The hypocrisy here is showing hard, and I can't deal with it. We're going back to Pearl now, but instead of praising her being robbed, we need to talk about her being overrated. She was placed high in the Hello Kitty ball. The queens had to create a sidekick, which would be Hello Kitty's new BFF, and then design a look based on Hello Kitty items. Pearl took a blanket, decided to wrap around her body, having some hems at the bottom, giving it no shape, and call it a day. Don't get me wrong, Katya's and Kennedy's looks were really basic, but they had a concept, they had shape, they had character. Pearl deserved a bottom 2 placement over one of them, but no matter against who, Pearl would have been toast in the lip sync, so they saved her for that reason. For season 8 and season 9, I only have one placement each I want to talk about, and coincidentally, they happened towards the beginning of the competition. For season 8, it was the very first episode. Due to it being the 100th episode, each queen got assigned a theme that was previously used for a design challenge. Layla McQueen got assigned the post-apocalyptic theme, and she did a stunning jacket and was put in the bottom for it. Like, yes, she had nothing for the bottom half, but she created that jacket, which was much more elaborate than Robbie Turner doing this shapeless blob thing, and Cuckoo literally just gluing candy on a corset, and they were low and safe respectively. For season 9, we will revisit episode 3, the Draggily Ever After Design Challenge, the cry heard all around the world. Valentina, your smile is beautiful. The queens were tasked to create a princess suing. No, this was no law challenge. Sewing a look for her and creating a comedic sidekick for the princess. Valentina did a pretty bodysuit and was put in the top for it, over the likes of Charlie Hyde, Sasha Velour, and Shea Coulee, who had much more elaborate and more creative looks. This is a horse that was not only beaten to death but also burned down already, so we don't need to spend much time here. Let's move on to season 10. And we're starting where we left off, at a design challenge. So, this is another infamous case. Due to the 10th season, the very first challenge, Drag on a Dime, was brought back, and the queens needed to create a look based on items from the 99-cent store. Mo Hart was only safe when she created this stunning look she made out of playing cards. From top to bottom, she made her own wig. And she was just safe when she should have won. I really can't. Like, if you don't want to give her the win, if you want to give it to Mayhem for storyline purposes, fine, I guess. But put her in the top over Blair Sinclair, at least, whom I almost gave a separate entry for this because that look was not top worthy whatsoever. Anyways, now let's talk about Miss Cracker placing in the top for the last ball on Earth. Categories are Alaskan Summer, Miami Winter, and for the design look, Martian Eleganza. So I get that there was this storyline between Aquaria and Miss Cracker about Miss Cracker copying Aquaria and yada yada. So on paper, it makes totally sense for the ball challenge to have Cracker as a high placement and Aquaria win the challenge. That being said, while Aquaria definitely deserved her win, Cracker did not deserve her high placement. I mean, her hair bikini look at all alone. This look is infamous in the fandom as a cursed drag race picture, so how was she in the top? I don't get it. So after a huge streak of look-based challenges, we're kicking off season 11 with Trump the Rusical. Maybe not the best topic in current times, but here we are. The queens performed with provided vocals again, a Grease-inspired Rusical about Trump and some women associated with him. And Oprah was also there for some reason. Speaking of Oprah, Silky got the Oprah role, which is similar to the one of Black China from the Kardashian Rusical on season 9. So clearly the judges and our production thought it would have the same effect for the audience, so they rewarded Silky with the win. However, Silky did good, really good as a matter of fact, but she got overshadowed by Evie, Brooke, Nina, and arguably even Scarlett. So when 3 or 4 queens did clearly better than you, despite you doing really, really solid, is it justified to still get the win? I personally really don't think so, and I think she should have just been safe. Let's go over to the Monster Ball. The categories are Trampy Trick or Treater, Witch Please, and MILF Mother Monster. I like to frick. Scarlet was safe. Scarlet also had a really cute pirate look. One of the three best witches with her outstanding swamp witch. I loved it so much. And a really good monster look based on the monster of the Black Lagoon, which me as a horror fan I adored obviously. How was she not in the top? More on Scarlet being robbed in a ball in a potential All-Stars version of this video or podcast now. Yay, can't wait to talk about it. We're staying in the Monster Ball and talk about Evie being in the top. Evie had a fun T-Rex look, a stunning witch look, but where it all fell apart is her monster look, which was nothing similar to a monster whatsoever. I still don't understand this look to this day. Like, it was well made, but totally missed the mark here. The Threat Not Evie stance, which includes me. I love Evie so much because now we're talking about the Farm to Runway design challenge, where the queens had to create looks out of organic farm materials and Evie's top placement. Only this time around, she was not overrated but underrated. Plastic Wonder challenge in a stunning look, honestly, which without context, I'd be totally fine with her winning. But we had prior to the season already, no, prior to the episode, already Vanjie being critiqued multiple times on having the same silhouette, and Plastique won this design challenge in her signature silhouette, which she showed only in the season. Like, I can't remember a look prior that didn't have that silhouette. Meanwhile, Evie did something completely different. She was glamorous, which she hadn't showed up to that point in the season. It was beautiful. I loved it, and she should have won. Um, yeah, so let's talk about sugarcane, and y'all know what is coming now. In a in a stand-up routine, where queens needed to perform magic tricks, there was a clear winning team and a clear losing team. Nina, Brooke, and Sugar were amazing. Evie, Vanjie, Silky, and Akira were struggle bus. Boots the house down.com, Dupree, whatever you like. How did Sugar found her way in the bottom against Vanjie instead of anyone from Vanjie's teammates? I'm at a loss. The world is at a loss. We've been talking about it for years, so let's move on to my final pick of season 11. Usually back then, a win was never awarded to a remix challenge. As a matter of fact, no placement was assigned. However, for this remix challenge, which was Queens Everywhere, we had a bottom two and they were lip syncing, and ultimately Benji was sent home. So if we have a bottom two plus elimination, why don't we have a winner as well? Officially on the track record table, Evie has a high placement, but we are all in agreement that she deserved a win here, right? I mean, she nailed her performance, she had a killer verse, she slayed the runway. Tens for this whole episode for Evie. Okay, I need to put a disclaimer now before we're entering season 12, because this will be very repetitive. It has the most entries so far, and the vast majority of these is about the same two queens. So, yeah, you're one. And we're starting off with one of them immediately. The world's worst was truly one of the worst challenges, with one of the worst winners. In this parody of your typical casting show, such as Idol or Got Talent, the queens were tasked to act a fool in purposefully bad skits to audition for the worst of the worst. The dessert one won this challenge, and I still don't know why. We had Heidi Widow or Jackie, who did so much better. Actually, even in her own group, Aiden and Britta both did better than her, so I really don't know how she won this. Now, talking about Miss Britta, Madonna the Musical is acclaimed among the fandom, and rightfully so. With self recorded vocals, the Queens reenacted Madonna's successful career. Britta did Cone Bra Madonna and was really funny, and the judges put her in the bottom for it. There was literally the dessert one who was so meh in this challenge, and Jackie who was arguably the worst, especially because she had like a Virgin Madonna, one of the most recognizable, and that was not like a Virgin Madonna whatsoever. I don't know what Jackie did there. So yeah, Britta definitely should not have been in the bottom in this challenge, and that's even the challenge she got eliminated on. Justice for Britta. Droop is an advert challenge making fun of Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop. Let's talk about two low placements who definitely should have been in the bottom two. And once again, we need to talk about the deserved one. And also, we need to talk about Gigi. But let's start with the other one, get her out of the way already. She was advertising her Aura Pie, I think it was. I don't know what it was, neither do I care. I only remember it to be dry as hell and boring. Gigi had the Timu version of Katya's Control Crisis, and again, the delivery was just very dry. She literally started with, "Hi, I'm better than you." And this could have been such a moment, but it had no sass or wit whatsoever. So it was just bad. um, but hey, we're staying with those two now for the next challenge. How fun! um, we need to talk about the presidential debate. It's the very same one as season 4, so don't need to elaborate on the challenge itself much anymore. Um, the one was safe, Gigi was low, but we can discuss them at the same time because they did the same error that should have led them in the bottom two. And it's relying on characters they did a million times now, which were at the beginning funny, but not now. Gigi with her robot shtick and the other one with her old lady shtick. Again, it was funny at first, but I'm getting tired of it. Anyways, Gigi, you're off the hook now, but sadly, we still need to talk about the other one. 2 episodes later is the stand up challenge, in which the queens need to create a one woman show skit. The time limit was 5 minutes for each skit, and the dessert one used up to 15 minutes to get her skit across, throwing off poor Jada, who performed right after her. The pie one got a low placement for it, and other than in previous cases we talked about, this is a case of you quite literally broke the rules of the challenge, yet you were only given a low placement instead of a bottom 2 placement. Unbelievable. Since Heidi was the other queen in the bottom, the pie would have been overdone in the oven, so they had to save her, obviously. Anyways, we did it, folks. Season 12 is done. I'm proud of all of us that we stick through it. Still want to draw my conclusions here because this was such an odd case, but I think I have a good explanation for it. Gigi and the expired, burned to dust dessert got pushed so hard because before the monstrosities of We Know Who got known, the main storyline from the season was a villain versus heroes arc between those two. And we already seen in the double premiere episodes that neither of them are, from what we've seen on the show, good lip syncers. So putting any of them in the bottom in a season with otherwise almost exclusively lip sync assassins, it would have been such a risk to get one of them gone early and the storyline to be prematurely over. So yeah. Anyways, moving forward to season 13, the first case I have to talk about hurts me because I love this queen and she's very overhated by the fandom. But let's dissect the challenge first. We got a sequel to Bossy Rossi called Bossy Rossi After Dark. In this improv challenge, the queens act out on skits we see in those weird daytime talk shows, where they just argue all the time and what have you not. Candy Muse got placed in the top for playing it more demure and laid back. And I get why, because the judges asked, I think, literally the episode prior to not be always like at a 100. But I just feel like Candy did not do it the ideal way. Like, you can look immediately at her scene partner Simone. For example, like, she also wasn't over the top, but she had an attitude, she had sass, she had a whole character going on. Candy was flatlining. Gottmik and Tina Burner had much more exciting, engaging performances, which could have been rewarded over Candy's performance, especially Gottmik, who went like hand in hand with Olivia's performance. Oh, the next one is rough. Yeah, in this season's makeover, the queens were tasked to make over the queen who was the most opposite style of drag that was still left in the competition. Rose and Tina were paired together and they placed low. Rose did fine, I guess, but Tina, do I have to elaborate this? Because we all know this meme of the workroom where Tina paints Rose and Rose looks in horror. Yeah, they should have been the bottom two for sure over Denali and Olivia, or at least do it like the pair design challenge they did on UK4, where they broke up the pairs at the bottom four and put Olivia and Tina in the bottom two. For the last placement of season 13, I want to do something a bit different. We had no placements for the Rumix challenge, so I can't say there was a controversial placement because there was none. However, it strikes me as odd that for season 11 and 12 there were placements in the Rumix challenge, and then on season 14 and 15 again, but not on season 13. So I'm just throwing my 2 cents in the ring here and say that Gottmik should have gotten a win here. Her performance was incredible. I still think about it to this day. The lyrics were great. Her performance was amazing. She looked amazing. She had rhythm. She had flow. So engaging. I loved it. Now, it would be just fair to have also a bottom two placement if I say that there should have been a winner. But honestly, Lucky is one of my absolute favorite Rumix challenges, and not enough people talk about it. I love all of the 4 performances, so let's just say there would be a winner and everyone would advance to the final. Yeah, let's move on to season 14 now. That's a very long season, but don't worry, I don't have many takes. We're starting with George's, but not the one we all think of. Pause yet. The ball challenge in this season was a pair of balls. The cast was split in two groups, and they were given two different prompts. There was an animal print group and a red, white, and blue group. The categories were the same, basically, just based on the groups. Like we had resort wear for the first category. One group had zebra print, the other had the color red. Then we had evening attire. The animal print group had leopard print, and the other group had the color white. And for the design look, the animal group needed to create bridal attires made out of animal print fabric that was in the workroom, and the other group the same with red, white, and blue fabric. George's was in the top. Let's dissect her looks. She had this basic red dress in the first category, which was resort wear. It didn't read, part of it being basic, it didn't read resort whatsoever, especially with the hair. This was more like disco. Her second look was amazing. I loved it. No notes there. Her third look was some scraps put together in some sort of a garment, and I did not like. When Ru announced the tops and bottoms of the week prior to the critiques, I thought we had only two tops and four bottoms, which really confused me, but no. They wanted to give Georges an undeserved high placement for a look based challenge. Wow, I hope this doesn't repeat itself. Moving on, one episode later, the Super Tease Challenge, where the queens had to act in two teasers for season 14. Carrie Colby was put in the bottom two because she's scared to act a fool, and while the recording was rough at some points, the end product was perfectly serviceable. Especially her mirror talk moment. It was so funny. I still don't understand how Carrie was in the bottom there. We're going back to George's, guys. And now it's time. I really don't want to spend much time here because we all know the situation and George's got way too much hate for it. However, I can't make this podcast episode and not mention it. We're going to talk about the design challenge, which, on a side note, I love the backstory to it, that Misha has some sort of shopping addiction. So she orders a lot of random stuff from Glamazon Prime. Anyways, the queens needed to create looks out of the items from the Glamazon Prime boxes. Georges made a garment. It had cookie cutters. It was blue and yellow. I like the color combination. And I liked her hair with it. I would not have put her in the bottom by any means, honestly. But when you have Angeria, Daya, Willow, Lady Camden, and Bosco even, who did so much better than you, looking cute doesn't guarantee you a win. And this was, I think this is the most what the frig win we've ever seen on Drag Race. And finally, for season 14, I want to talk about the Snatch game. Dun dun dun. Infamously, there were a bottom 7. Because allegedly the queens did so bad, RuPaul had to put them in a Lollapalooza the week after as punishment. And obviously, I disagree with it, otherwise I wouldn't mention it. Was it the best Snatch game? No. Even without the bad edit, it would have probably been one of the weaker ones. But having a bad edit and Rue not volleying with um, the queens, you can make the performances look much worse than they already were. So precisely here, I want to talk about Bosco doing Gwyneth Paltrow and Lady Camden as William Shakespeare. Again, I want to reiterate, they weren't the greatest. But if the episode was judged normally, they could have been the two high spots. And instead, they have a big bottom in their track record. It's just unfair, just for having that stunt. Like, couldn't you have done it like you literally did a season later and just introduce it as a normal challenge? I'm upset. Folks, last 3 seasons. Oh, how far we've come. We can do it. I believe in us. Um, so for season 15, they did my favorite kind of design challenge, which I hope they do more in the future. Forming drag houses and collections based on 3 themes. The themes this time were Michelle Visage, think of more Jersey, glam, animal print. Ross Matthews, obviously Palm Springs themed. And Carson Kressley was more like flannel and cozy. Spice was in the House of Visage and she did a look. She truly did a look. It was not bad, but no look was bad. Even Amethyst, who was the worst in the challenge, would have probably been safe as hell in any other design challenge. And this was honestly one of the best design challenges we ever had. We had Selena in the bottom because they didn't like her ambition. We had Jax as a low placement because they did not like Jax. But both had concepts and characters to it. Spice was bland and basic and should have been low or even a bottom two instead of safe. Like, I'm sorry. Moving on to the girl groups, the queens were tasked to perform as elderly queens in 3 different girl groups. We had a metal group, a country group, and a hip hop group. Aura Mayari won this, and to this day, no one knows why. The most popular alternative is that Sasha should have won, and I agree with it. But arguably, you could have given the win to Mistress and Lux and Lucy as well. And there were others like Selena or Marsha who could have gotten a high placement over Aura. Like, Aura was perfectly safe. She was decent. She wasn't a standout. Should not have been in a high position, let alone win the challenge. What makes it even more confusing is that you can't even accuse the production of pushing Aura because she leaves immediately the week after. Like, help. My god. Now, I love Sasha Colby. No, you guys don't understand. I'm obsessed with her. She's in my top 5 queens to ever been cast on Drag Race. How exactly did she win the 50-50 challenge? In this improv challenge, the queens were asked to interview one of 3 personalities in different settings, such as the outside, the kitchen, or the studio. The 3 personalities were Charo, Frankie Grande, and Love Connie. Sasha needed to interview Charo in the kitchen while making salad. Sasha was very charismatic, but she always is. The throwing cards away bit was cute, but other than that, I find it hard to remember moments of this. Lux was a natural talent in this challenge, and Lucy was incredible as well. Like, I really would have rewarded one of those two to win instead. We're kicking off season 16, and we have to talk about the Snatch Game and Nymphia's Jane Goodall, who plays low. Now, this should have been a clear bottom two. Like, yes, her runway was incredible, spectacular, stunning, out of this world. Love it. But in no way on Lady Gaga's Green Earth should a runway save you when you did so bad that Ru got visibly annoyed with you during the challenge itself. Like, I never seen Ru this pissed during a Snatch Game like she was with Nymphia. Next up is the See You Next Wednesday design challenge, and Morphine Love Dion, my biological mother. She plays low, and this one hurts. In this design challenge, the queens needed to design a goth look. Morphine, again, the mother that she is, looked incredible. Like, this look was so beautiful. The makeup was perfection, out of this world. How was she low and not Plain Jane? Plain Jane did good. Don't want to throw any shade on her, but this was a good look, yet a safe look. And besides of the bottom two, everyone else ate. So by default, either don't give a low placement, just have 5 queens at the top and the bottom, or put Plain Jane as a low placement. And lastly, for season 16, we got to talk about the stand-up challenge. The queens needed to perform a comedic seminar using PowerPoint. Now, how is it that Mrs. Kasha Davis got put in the bottom and sent packing for saying welcome? But Safira Crystal can fumble a word and win the challenge. Don't get me wrong, she should not have been in the bottom like Kasha was. But it's just such a hypocrisy that one can fumble a word and get sent home. The other one fumbles a word and she wins the challenge. And it's just rubbing me somehow the wrong way. And what doesn't help at all is that Plain and Q did a flawless performance and definitely should have won. And here we are, the most recent season 17, and we're starting with the Monopulence You Own Everything design challenge. And the queens needed to create a look based on the color of their previously assigned Monopoly Street. Anya, who got the color green, placed in the top. And first and foremost, she sold the hell out of this look. Presentation-wise alone, she could have won. She served opulence more than anyone else. However, it is a design challenge at the end of the day. And I feel like her dress is just on the more simple side. A handful of queens such as Jules, Crystal, Lydia, and even Susie could have taken the top placement over her. Up next, I want to talk about a case that isn't maybe as outrageous as some previews that I talked about, but it still seems even today odd to me, even weeks later, and it is Mona Lisa's high placement in the RDR Live. In this acting challenge, the queen had to act out skits based in the similar style to Saturday Night Live. And Mona did basically herself with a more bigger southern accent, and she was put in the top for it. I still don't know why. Now moving forward, we have Lexi Love, and I love her, truly. She placed high in the Snatch game though, playing Gilbert Gottfried because she fumbled. But it was funny how she fumbled. And that's why she's put in the top. Let me just ask some questions. Where is Jara Sophia's high placement then in the Snatch game? Where is Darian Lake's win for the girl group challenge? Where is Monica Beverly Hills talent show win? What about Jessica placing high in the Advert interview challenge? That's it. For the last two, we have Jewel Sparkles, and I swear, I have to say it. I love her. Don't attack me. I love her. But we're gonna talk about two challenges where she got a better placement than I personally would have given her. Firstly, I think this is the less controversial one. is the acting challenge. The Queens acted up in Ross Matthews versus the Ducks, an homage to Truman Capote and Capote versus the Swans. The Ducks in questions were based on reality stars. Jules got the role inspired by Tiffany Pollard's iconic monologue over Gemma Collins, and Jules fumbled it. She placed low in the end. But the bottom two were Lana and Lydia, and they actually did well. They just got overshadowed by better performances. And yes, Jules' runway was amazing, incredible, stunning. But you're quite literally the only one who had flaws in the performance itself, and the runway should not save you in this case. The other one, and I want to reiterate again that this is all subjective. None what I say is a fact. The fact is what happened on the show. I'm just here expressing my opinion. The very last challenge, this big mixed bag of a challenge, like they had to advertise Vegas while doing a photo shoot, a promotional video, perform in a original Vegas Live soundtrack, and an interview with Latrice Royale. This was a lot. Jules, she demolished the photo shoot. She did bad in the interview, in my opinion, and she did good in the rest. Anya was great in every single category. Lexi, while fumbling the photo shoot, demolished every single other category. I would have given the win hands down to Anya or Lexi. In my personal opinion, I liked even Sam more than Jules, but I'm not gonna say Jules should have been in bottom instead. Jules could have been safe, and I would have been perfectly fine with that. But the win was kinda, I don't know. So, anyways, this was my list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Share your thoughts in the comments. Please remember, again, this was just my opinion. This is nothing scientific in any way. So, if you want to share your opinion and your disagreement in the comments, I actually invite you to, because I love exchanging and talking about different opinions. But keep it civil. Like, no need to attack or writing nasty comments over an opinion. You don't know me. I'm a stranger to you, yapping on the internet. So getting emotionally upset over a stranger's opinion is kind of weird. So yeah, different opinions make the world more fun, and we love that. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed the episode and see you in the next one. Goodbye.